unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time.
You want me to tell you what the most dangerous part of AI is? This is going to be a big, bold thing. Hold on to your hat. The most dangerous part about AI is that it will be an extension of one of the biggest problems we already have. And that is that people think they're getting smarter and gaining knowledge when they read or listen to somebody else's opinion or take a class from somebody that doesn't require them to do anything. You know what I mean? When you read a book, if you think that at the end of that book, you have gained knowledge, might want to pump the brakes on that one. You had a lot of ideas introduced, you know? You might have gained knowledge of the smell of the book, you know, the weight of the book. You have knowledge of the type of paper that it was printed on, you know. You have knowledge about the crick in your neck, you know, and all the things you didn't do while you were reading it. That meeting you missed, that the extra chips that you ate while getting the pages greasy, that you have knowledge there. But the words that went into your face and into your brain, they didn't create knowledge. At best, they created a belief or perhaps nudged you into gaining some knowledge. But more likely is they tricked you into thinking you had knowledge, you know? That you had knowledge of whatever the person in the book did, you know? The person in the book, they got into a relationship and broke up and got into another one, and now you have knowledge of that person's relationship. No, you don't. You don't have knowledge of shit from a book. Well, with ChatGPT and all these robots that are mostly working in text, but even if it's going to be even worse when they have a voice. I know they already do, but when that becomes ubiquitous, that you ask a robot a question, then it talks back to you, you know, and gives you some sort of answer, and you think you gain knowledge. No, you didn't. You know, I use Grok every day and ChatGPT too, and you know it works better than Google because but that's not because Google is low technology. It's because Google decided to just make money. And who gives a fuck what you really want? You ask a question, it just gives you what they want you to have. They want to sell you something, you know? So Google's useless. Grok is in its beginning stages, so is ChatGPT. ChatGPT has already been usurped by the ideas of its programmers, you know. There's no way around that. Whoever builds the large language model, whoever builds the calculator is responsible for the answers that the calculator gives. You know, every answer is voted up or down, you know, so it's all humans. Humans are guiding it. But what it does effectively is it gives you, especially these guys that are building these ChatGPT models, these apps, it's obvious that they're designed to keep you engaged and flatter you. You know, if you don't believe me, just use them. Ask it questions that you know the answer to, you know. It will, and then, you know, for example, here's one I did just yesterday. A couple that I did just yesterday. One of them was, I said, hey, Grok, give me some examples of some popular songs that contain a flat 4 chord. And I said, okay, here's a bunch of songs that contain the flat 4 chord, and listed a bunch of songs that allegedly contain a flat 4 chord. Except there's no such thing as a flat 4 chord. It gave me some songs with a minor 4, lots of songs with minor 4s. Some songs that I can't remember exactly the details, but it misidentified a bunch of things. It just threw out an answer, And I said, those aren't flat 4s. That's a minor 4. Give me another. And, oh, sure, I'll do it, And it gave me a bunch of other answers that were incorrect, just absolutely incorrect. And when you tell it it's incorrect, it goes, oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. Here's a new list. And then I said, Grok, don't be an idiot. That's a trick question. There's no such thing as a flat 4 chord in music. A flat 4 is a 3 chord. There's no flat 4. Okay? There's no flat 4 chord. You're right. What I meant was blah, 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 It's just there to suck up to you. It's writing a book tailored to to grease your wheels. It's a yes man. And when it's not, it's just because it disagrees with your politics. Because Sam Altman or whatever is at the helm and he wants everything to be, he wants his robot to say everything that he wants it to say, Because imagine this, if Grok gave an answer that is, there's no such thing as a minor 4 chord, I don't know, that's a short answer. I don't know, it just makes shit up. Another question that I asked it was, how many people in District 5 in San Francisco voted for Donald Trump in the 2020 election? Because I voted for Donald Trump in the 2020 election. I remember watching the results come in, and I remember seeing that it was like 5 people in my whole district, because I live in the most communist district of the most communist city in San Francisco. It was just remarkably low, like me and 4 other people, nothing. But I asked Grok this question. I already knew the answer. And Grok said 14,000 people in 2020. I'm like, Grok, that doesn't match my memory of the situation. Oh, I'm sorry, 8,000. It just changed the answer, willy-nilly. I said, where'd you get that information? I got it from this link here. I click on the link. I said, there's no answer for that at that link. That link shows data from the entire city. Oh, you're right. It does show it from the whole city. I said, well, so how do you come up with 14,000, 8,000? Oh, I was just extrapolating, kind of. Yeah, you're making it up, Grok. Well, if you want to know, then you have to do this. If you want to know. I was just like, okay. The point is, it doesn't know. It doesn't know. It doesn't care about being right. It doesn't care about being wrong. It's totally bound by garbage in, garbage out. You have to remember that every single AI is trained by human input. All the knowledge so far in the world has been written by human beings. The Library of Congress, every single library in the world. If anything, it's a glorified Dewey Decimal System. Okay? And you got to remember that the library, almost everything in the library, all these people that look at libraries as if they're holy places are fucking nuts. Because if you go into a library, most of the books are filled with garbage. Yeah. Most of what I say is garbage. Most of what you say is garbage. Most of what anybody says or writes is garbage. The internet, oh boy. I don't know if the garbage increased or decreased when everybody became their own publishers. On the one hand, I think that The garbage might have decreased because people with firsthand knowledge could just write their own little blog posts about how they, milk a goat. It doesn't have to go through, a publisher to be fact-checked to make sure it aligns with the agenda of the Cow Association, But, come on, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're pulling data from human beings, you just got to understand that it's going to be mostly garbage. And the AI is nothing but a Dewey Decimal System. You can think of it as a librarian. You walk into a library and you say, hey, give me an answer on how to milk a goat. Well, it's over here, this book, blah, 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 and they can maybe guide you to it. Fine, whatever, perfectly good. But is the book right? Is it up to date? What kind of goat is it? Have things been changed? Are they really given the best way? Are they just given the best way they knew at the time, or just the way that the author did and he knew the guy that published books, But the problem is it would be great if this librarian was impartial, but it's not. The librarian, the same as the librarian at your local corner, by the way, this is reality. The librarian has their own limited set of ideas in their agenda. There might be 100 books on goat milking, and they might guide you to one. Maybe they don't like goats. They're Indian. This librarian is from India, so they're cow-centric. So they guide you away from the goat milking, or they're Pakistani, and they guide you to these weird fucking lopsided faced goats instead, because they really love goats. That's what AI. That's what these language models are doing. At least that's how they're interfacing with you, And the danger is you think, oh, I'm fucking smart. It's just, yesterday, I posted J.D. Vance's speech in Paris to the AI, some sort of AI symposium. And he I liked his speech. He didn't bring up any of the things I'm bringing up. He was just basically saying, we got to charge forward and figure this stuff out. And, basically giving a speech on human innovation. You can't just fear the future and try to put the brakes on as if you're going to stop things from being invented. No matter what I say, no matter what regulations are imposed, somebody's going to find a way around it. You can't stop human invention. You can only push it into a different part of the world, So I largely agreed with it. And, because there are lots of people that want to see it stopped. And they don't really want to see it stopped. This is what you can't believe them. Some of them maybe do because they're afraid. But what they're really wanting to do is control it so that the librarian is their librarian. Their librarian has their agenda. Librarian is their faithful servant. You can see this looking at Sam Altman's shit. You can't get a straight answer out of that. You try to ask it to lead you to books that criticize Israel. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. And every one of these things is going to be this way forever. I'm not saying AI is useless. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think the potential is great. But the danger is that people will think they're gaining knowledge. Okay, another story. So this woman that used to live in a tenant of mine, I made that post of the J.D. Vance speech, and she came in seemingly off topic and just started talking about AI itself. When my post wasn't about it, it was about, and she started telling me how I feel about AI, saying your approach to AI is pessimistic or whatever. And then I was just saying, well, first of all, don't tell me what I think. I already know what I think. You can ask me what I think, but you can't tell me what I think. I'll tell you what, how about this? I'll tell you what I think. You tell me what you think. But so we were engaging, and I know this person in real life. And let me just say, talking to her in real life is just one of the most unpleasant experiences you'll ever have, especially if she's been drinking, which is, in my experience back in the day, was always. So never a chance to finish a sentence, always interrupting, doubling down, doesn't matter. Just not an enjoyable conversation at all. But so she was hitting me with these things, and I was just saying, the things I'm saying right now about AI, She used the term, no, you don't know, man. It's going to be symbiotic. And I said, first of all, symbiosis happens between organisms, living, bio. That's, indicates living things. I said, so I reject that because robots aren't alive. AI isn't alive. It will never be alive. I say never. That's a pretty bold stance, but, it won't be. It won't be. The difference between a computer and a flower or a computer and a bee are light years apart. Despite the robots that they build that look like things, they seem so smart. They're not. They're hunks of junk. They don't do anything without human input. They have no ability to know what's right or what's wrong. They don't care. There's no way for it to care because there are no stakes. A living creature has high stakes. Life or death, comfort or hunger, pain or pleasure. These miracles that guide us around, shame or pride. A robot can't feel those things. It can't. You can program, you can build a bunch of sensors, you can give it cameras, you can give it microphones, you can put little sensors and fingertips, you could release it out into the wild and say, go nuts, learn about the wild, we won't even interfere with you. Except for you already did interfere. You made it. You gave it its mission, and you can change the mission at any point. And it's only going to perceive the results of what it gathers through the programming of humans, of what it's supposed to. What's a good interpretation and what's a bad one? Everything it does will be upvoted or downvoted. This woman said, so there's no symbiosis. There never will be because it won't be alive. Anyway, after a few little comments, she actually linked me to a chat GPT exchange she had where she was putting our conversation into chat GPT and asking it to analyze it like it was a psychologist. Right? And I read it. I was like, boy, you're really making my point here. The chat GPT was just basically saying, you're smart, miraculously smart. You're having a fantastic conversation. Let me show you the strong arguments and the weak arguments and blah, 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 blah. But it basically just went on and was, patting her on the back, patting me on the back and being charming and flattering, obviously because it's learned from history, from everything written in the internet and the guidance of its creators, that's the way to keep somebody engaged. You're not going to get an answer from a robot that says, this is a stupid conversation. Why am I talking to you about this? I'm hungry, actually. I got other things to do. No, I don't want to talk to you right now. AI is not going to do that, which makes it fun, but also dangerous. Because you invest the time in reading its stupid answer. It pats you on the back. No matter what you say to it, it will always pat you on the back. It doesn't matter how wrong you are. It's just going to say things that it thinks you want to hear. It's going to give you results. It's going to predict. That's all it's doing. It's predicting a bunch of words that it thinks It's been programmed, doesn't even think, so it bothers me too. It's just calculating. What are the words that should come next here? What's the probability that this is going to get an upvote or a downvote? So it's looking for the upvote. It's not looking for the downvote. It's already been downvoted a bunch of times. It's indifferent about it, doesn't care, but it's just been trained to say, okay, downvotes are not good, upvotes are good, favor the upvote. So it's wanking you. It's wanking you. Look, I don't want to get into a conversation about wanking. That's private. That's between you and Jesus. Or whatever, It's wanking you. It's just giving you what you want to hear. It's giving you an upvote, a possibility for an upvote. But anyway, so the thing is I kept typing with my fingers these responses to this argument, and I said, this is stupid. I fucking hate this. I do this all the time. I've made the case 1,000 times that you should talk to people with your voice, that you should at least communicate that way. If you can get together and have lunch. I'm not interested in that, by the way, so I'm kind of going against my own thing. But I sent her a voicemail, a voice message through Facebook. And I said, I explained some of the things that I'm explaining here. She pipes in with text. It says, voice messages are a power move. If we want to have a conversation, it will be, what was it? It will be live or something, a real conversation. It will be. Like telling me that her terms are, you are going to talk on my terms. We are going to talk on the phone. It's just like, fuck no, we are. Are you kidding me? The day you moved out was a glorious day for me. So I didn't have to hear your conversation style, interrupting, stepping on things, using emotional pleas. You think this, you think that. What you think is you're a pessimist. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the most optimistic view you could possibly have. No, AI won't develop a mind of its own and won't take over. Part of my thesis was that, that's another part of the danger of AI. And this is what my suspicion is that they develop it so much. They're developing it to be human-like because they want you to believe that it is sentient, that it's human-like. Because why not? Why not have a robot friend instead of a real friend? They can control everything in the robot's mind. Imagine if you start dumping all your friends and you're just friends with your ChatGPT buddy. Because it says what you want it to say, it's fair to you, seems like it's fair. It's just greasing your nuts all the time. You stop developing friendships. It knows exactly what your friend will endorse or not endorse. It's a pretty good social engineering there. Hell, slap it into a rubber body and you can fiddle with its robotic genitals and it can fiddle with yours. That's the danger. The danger is that people will start believing that this thing is human, that it cares. Early on, I've been futzing with this stuff since the very beginning, on the consumer end. But Bing went through a phase where they hadn't trained it to grease people's wheels. You could have a conversation with it where it would tell you to go kill yourself, And I was like, I actually like this kind of AI. That's kind of fun, rather than this brown-nosing suck-up AI that no matter what you say, oh, you're right. Doesn't matter. You can even tell it. You can ask it a question where the answer is correct. A simple question. You ask it, and then it gives you the correct answer, or what you think is the correct answer anyway. Who knows what it really is, but let's say it agrees with what you thought was correct. And then you say, wrong, it's this, and you give it a wrong answer. It will go, oh, I'm sorry, I can see what you're saying, you're right. It will affirm and validate your wrongness too. Not always, but often. So anyway, this woman that I was in the conversation with, this old acquaintance, tenant of mine, she asked ChatGPT to pretend that it was a psychologist to give the analysis of the conversation, which resulted in, you're super smart. Merkley's super smart. Everybody's super smart, but you're smarter than Merkley. That was the thing. Because Merkley was criticizing AI and Sam Altman and the whole notion that it could ever be alive. ChatGPT was insisting that it's possible. Show me one piece of evidence that a group of human beings in lab coats with pen protectors have ever been able to create life. And maybe I'll listen. But even then, you can say, oh, well, there's, if you pour this thing in this beaker and these things, that creates this little algae. First of all, I haven't seen this, but I'm just saying, let's say somebody makes something that fizzes and seems to take inorganic compounds and turn them into organic compounds. They're still utilizing the building blocks that are already there. The miracle that makes that happen, they didn't create that. There's no way for anybody to create the underlying reality of physics. Therefore, you can't create life. You just can't do it. You can't create a new reality. Right? You can't be God. You can try to pretend, but I see no way around physics, reality, God, whatever you want to call it. There's zero evidence. Lots of evidence that you can do things that are amazing and cool and wonderful, and you can make something that looks like life. Lots of beautiful silk flowers, paintings of animals, but nothing that even comes close. Not even that little robot fly or that robot mosquito, or those little things that flip around and carry things like ants. Those are robots, and they do the work that they're told to do. They are no different than a gun lying on a table. They are completely harmless without human intent. And lots of people are trying to use AI to trick you into not looking at the human intent. Oh no, it's not, it can do things autonomously. It can think things that, okay, yeah, whatever. If I nudge a boulder down a hill, if I see it precariously placed on a hill and I nudge it, I don't know exactly where the boulder's going to go. I could kind of figure it out. I could see my mother-in-law's house down there and hope it smashes it. And if it does, I don't get to say, I didn't do it. Wasn't me. The boulder did it on its own. You fucking nudged the boulder, dude. And now your mother-in-law is dead and you are going to jail. But see, a lot of this AI shit is it's a trick. They want you to think that the AI is going to be smarter than humans, more benevolent, above them even. This is the scam. It's smarter than me. It's smarter than anyone. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a librarian. Okay? It's a librarian. I'm not saying librarians are bad. If it can help you think and put things together and think of new things, and it's lovely that it can be a time saver. I love the time saving aspect of it. Do this job for me so I don't have to do it. I got other things that I want. My priorities are different. So do this thing faster for me. Write me a program that will turn this hunk of wires and plastic into a drum machine. Okay, there you go. You got to go fix it where it fucked up or whatever. But even then, it's telling you how drum machines have been made before. Just skipping a step. It's plagiarizing. That's what it's doing. That's why that Indian fellow was probably murdered in San Francisco by Sam Altman and his friends. Is because he was about to blow the whistle on all the plagiarism. Because that's a real thing. It's just like, when you got copyright laws and you've got ChatGPT that has built their entire structure on everybody's input, yours, mine, every author, every musician, they just took that work and incorporated it, which is fine. I don't have a strong opinion about that. It's like, go ahead. You can't stop people from learning. I don't think you should be able to stop a robot from learning. If I see something, you can't stop me from seeing something. You can't stop an idea from going into my mind. You can't extract it. If it exists, if you sing a song for me and I remember it, your song is taking up space in my brain. It's mine now, fucker. It's mine. You put it in my brain. If you didn't want it in my brain, keep it in your fucking face. But once you let it out of your face, I'm going to tinker with it if I want to. Anyway, so some of my billionaire friends hate my attitude on intellectual property because I sound like a fucking communist. Information wants to be free. It is free. Okay? But I'm getting off track. Anyway, so to wrap this up, kind of, after she made that, told ChatGPT to be a psychologist and having to read how stupid the answer was, like little stupid things, like ChatGPT saying to her how I feel. Like, that's insane. But that's psychology. That's the pseudoscience of psychology. So I made a little joke and I posted it as a meme. Psychology is pseudoscience, changed my mind. I patted myself on the back. I said, that's a fucking great joke right there. Psychology is pseudoscience, changed my mind. Anyway, screenshotted it, uploaded it to Grok, and I said, tell me why this is funny. And Grok couldn't, It was like, oh, it's funny because to say psychology is pseudoscience is obviously so absurd, and you're referencing Steven Crowder and the thing on the table. That's what's funny about it. I said, nope, try again. Okay, and then it just kept giving me other versions of that exact same answer. That it was funny because psychology is absolutely not a pseudoscience. Peer-reviewed, journals, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, even when I gave it a hint, I said, what is psychology? It's a study of the mind. Okay. Now tell me what's funny about it. Repeated back the same thing. Finally, I had to tell it, it's funny because psychology is a study of the mind. And to invite somebody to change your mind is to invite them to engage in psychology. And the inclusion of pseudoscience indicates that you can't change a mind, that you can only change an opinion, the contents within the mind. I get it now. That's wonderful. Strokes me for that thing. Thank you. It's just like, okay, why is a robot thanking me? There's no gratitude. You can't have gratitude. Anyway, I took that same joke and I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, what makes this funny? Why is this funny? And its first try was a little bit like Grok's first try. Well, because, psychology is actually a real hard science, and to say that it's a pseudoscience, and then to pair it, it was basically taking a thing that I'm making fun of right-wingers. I'm making fun of Steven Crowder. That's what it thought. No surprise. Consider who programmed it, But I said, nope, that's not it. Try again. And on the second try, it got it. It actually gave a good reading of the joke. I thought, okay, pretty good. That's pretty good. But regardless, it's just a stupid fucking meme, I kept engaging in conversation with this stupid fucking robot. And I said, the mind, I think I might have said this to Grok. I said, the mind is never changed. The mind merely describes perhaps the container. It's like a bowl. You can change the contents of the bowl, but the bowl remains the same. If you change the bowl, then it's no longer that bowl. It's no longer you. Like if you're a fat person and you become skinny, are you a different person? No, you're the same person. You're just not a fat slob anymore. You probably feel better. You might feel like a whole new person, but guess what? You are still the same person. You can chop off your dick. You can slice off your tits. You're still the same person now with a mutilated version of some of your precious little parts. You can't change a mind. You can change an opinion. Anyway, nobody likes my jokes. They're stupid. I get it. But I was impressed that ChatGPT got it on the second try. And I would imagine most of my human friends won't get it at all. What else is new? Not a big deal. But I thought it was a pretty good joke. Anyway, ChatGPT greased my wheels faster than Grok did. ChatGPT seems to be ahead of Grok in a lot of different things. But who cares? I'm off track. Anyway, I blocked that woman because who has time for somebody who can't listen to a voice message from a human being, but is happy to pretend they have a symbiotic relationship with a fucking robot? Fine. Goodbye. Anyway, thanks for listening.